stop for anything on Capitol Street. Let's let the merchants down on Capitol Street feel the economic pinch. Let me say this to you. I had one merchant to call me, and he said, I want you to know that I've talked to my national office today, and they want me to tell you that we don't need nigger business. Stores that help to support the White Citizens Council, the council that is dedicated to keeping you and I second-class citizens. So let us not trade at these stores. Let's urge our friends, our relatives, our neighbors not to trade at these stores. Now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, and this is final, we'll be demonstrating here until freedom comes to Negroes here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Medgar Evers was born July 2nd, and he was assassinated on June 12th, 1963, in Jackson, Mississippi. He was a field secretary. He was a field secretary for the NAACP, and Medgar is what we call a real soldier on the front line of white supremacy. And he gave his life just like many others, right? He gave his life. Jackson, Mississippi, that was the core of the South, along with Birmingham and Arkansas and Texas. Mississippi was the core of the South, man. You break down that wall of white supremacy and racism, and you can make some real traction and be effective. And Medgar Evers knew that. He died for that. And a lot of people don't know the reason why he even became a fighter for his people is when Medgar Evers was young, there was a fair that came into town, right? And the fair is service to black people and white people. Now, of course, the fair wasn't as good when it serviced the black people, right? Well, a 10-year-old boy during that time, he didn't tell nobody that he went off to go to that white fair, to enjoy himself at that white fair, because, you know, he's a kid. And they beat that boy, and they hung him on the fence. Not just an example to the black people, but an example to the white people also. And they allowed that 10-year-old boy to stay on that fence until his body decayed. They used him as an example. All right? And that troubled Medgar Evers. So imagine being a teenager in Mississippi and you see that. Medgar Evers eventually went to World War II, where he served there, and he was honorably discharged. At the height of Medgar Evers' movement, he was a big threat to the KKK. So when Medgar Evers got back from the war, by the way, he also was involved in the Normandy invasion when he was over there in World War II. But anyway, he met Myrlie Evers. Myrlie then changed her name to Evers when they got married. They had 3 beautiful kids, but unfortunately for his family, Medgar Evers, he chose to live forever. He chose to die for a just cause. He chose to be the soldier and the voice for his people, knowing what threat and harms can come from that. He still chose that with his chin up and his head held high, chest out. And we respect that about Medgar Evers, right? He was the field secretary for the NAACP, and he was followed. He was escorted by the FBI and the police consistently. But for some reason on June 12th, he wasn't escorted by the FBI or the police. And that's the day that Byron De La Beckwith, the race soldier, that's the day that he shot him in the back. He shot Medgar in the back like the coward that he is. They say that justice delayed is justice denied. Well, this justice was denied for 30 years. It took them 30 years to convict this race soldier of the crime of Medgar Evers because they kept getting an all-white jury. And we all know what an all-white jury is going to vote or is going to rule when it comes to a race soldier killing a black leader. Oh, we all know that. You ain't going to get no guilty out of that jury box until they have to find a way to get the right jurors in there. I think it was still an all-white jury that convicted him to be guilty, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I guess humanity finally caught up with the dominant society, and you know, they found him guilty after 30 years. You don't get no cookie or no award for doing what you're supposed to do. That's what my mama told me. But Merle Evers said that Medgar came back in the house and said, "I love you," before he left. He left and then he came back in and said, "I love you," and said how he was tired. Subconsciously, at that point, Medgar Evers knew that his days was numbered. He knew the life that he chose and the sacrifices that he made, and he made it like a soldier. R.I.P. Medgar Evers. You gonna live forever. That's the end of the video.